Hey everyone, just wanting to go through our Color Fusion and Cover Fusion permanent hair color lines so that you can learn the most important things about it so that you can start your journey with your clients and also with your educator throughout the formulation processes. So, like I said, Color Fusion and Cover Fusion. Let's get into it. So, we've got all these different families, I would say, or like kind of categories that these would fall into. They're characterized by the color on the actual box or the tube. So this kind of bright purpley bluish color is going to indicate that it's a very cool based portion of color. A lot more cool toned color is actually put into that. The brown boxes are going to be kind of considered our natural areas, natural balance. So we're going to have like some cool-ish browns, but not as cool as what you would find in this category. Then we've got our orange boxes, and that's going to be considered natural balance. So you might find some reds, some coppers, some golds in here. But what you're also going to know is they got brown background, so brown to tan background. So they're going to be a lot more of a like somewhat muted red, if that's what you're going for. We've got our red box, which is our fashion families. And just because the box is red doesn't mean it's all red. It's mostly red. There are some teas in there. And so that is also going to indicate that you are getting no background, whether you're looking for copper reds, red reds, or more of like a titanium. And then we've got our Cover Fusion, which is in the gray boxes. You can come in here, right? It's fine. The gray boxes are going to be indicative of the gray coverage. So they're pre-mixed to cover up to 100% gray. So this is really a great go-to. The reason why this might not be your answer if you have 100% gray would be if somebody's wanting a tone, let's say like a red violet. We don't have any red violets in Cover Fusion. We have like copper reds, red, those kinds of things. But if you're wanting something else, you can, for instance, mix a red from the fashion mixed with one of the colors from our natural balance, and then you would actually get 100% gray coverage if you formulate correctly. And you can find all of that information on the litho charts, but we'll go through it quickly today. So what's Color Fusion? So it is going to give a lot of obviously color, conditioning, and consistency to your results. The technology is that it actually does go in. It's a permanent color, so it has the ability to lift and deposit, and it's going to go in and it gives a lot of good things back into the hair as it's coloring. Ingredients, we could definitely talk about those, but it's a lot of stuff like high tenacity dye molecules, ceramides, cationic conditioners, coconut oil. The cationic conditioners and coconut oil are what actually help keep the hair shiny and supple after the color process is done. So again, understanding the tube, we kind of talked about that. How do we read the box itself or the label? The first part of it is going to be the number. So in this situation, it's a 5. So it's a level 5. And then the T on this one stands for titanium. In this result or example, we've got a level 8, a lead color of red, and a secondary color of violet. So what does that mean? Lead means it's going to be stronger than the secondary. Taste of color. So if we think about these as different end results of how color could come out, Color Fusion is going to be somewhere within here. It's not going to be as lacking in color as like Shades EQ Gloss would be, but it's still going to have highs and lows. So if someone's hair is naturally lighter next to the strands that are naturally darker, when the color goes on there, it's going to still have those highs and lows. So like we call that multi-dimensional, versus something like this you'll learn about color gels oils is going to be a lot more monochromatic. One thing to know about this color line is that it utilizes the American level system. Within Redken, that's the only color line that actually uses it, making it as quick of an answer as possible. What's different about it? You can plan on Color Fusion and Cover Fusion appearing slightly lighter than color gels oils, than color gels lacquers, than Shades ALK. So you can plan on it looking at least one level lighter. And part of that is because of the multidimensionality. So when something has highs and lows, it's going to have a lot more light reflection, and so it's going to appear to be lighter on top of the fact that it actually is formulated lighter. Here's a big reason why this is important for you to understand. If I use a color fusion color at their zone 1, so for instance, this is a 7GC, so a level 7 American level system gold copper, if I need to refresh or freshen up their zone 2 outside their new growth area, so if I go in here with a Shades EQ gloss, if I choose a level 7 Shades EQ, it's actually going to possibly look slightly darker than what you put at their root if you used a level 7 on color fusion. So understanding if I use a 7GC color fusion at their zone 1 at their root area, then I would want to refresh with something more like a level 8 in our Shades EQ gloss, so that I don't feel like this got a little darker than the root area. So this is the color wheel. Why do we have to understand that? Well, color theory, it all matters, right? So if I'm looking for something and I know the natural undertone, if we go back one slide, if I know the natural undertone at a level 7 in the American color level system is a orange/yellow, and my client wants to be a level 7, but she doesn't want to see any orange or yellow, then I can go into this color wheel and look at, okay, where's orange and yellow? Right in here, what's directly opposite? I need something with blue and violet to neutralize. So I could go in and formulate for that a level 7 with some blue and add something that's a level 7 with some violet, and then I would get more of a natural end result at a level 7, not yellow or orange. Background color, why does it matter? So we're gonna have some of our colors that have a black to gray background. Those are more cooling, more controlling of warmth. We're gonna have some of our colors that have a brown to tan background. Those are gonna be a lot more natural, balanced, and they help with gray coverage. And then we have no background when we're looking for something very bright and vivid. Here's a picture of all of the line or the things that we could, colors we can choose from within Color Fusion. We have this in the break room so you can check on that. There's a different red dye technology. Pretty much what that means is Redken pays a company to give them their red dye molecules. And so they are like patented. They're gonna give a lot more vibrancy and longevity to those red tones. Color or C-Lock technology. So the Cool Lock technology that's found in this color tube and box is really just about keeping the longevity of that cool tone past what you normally would get or expect from a permanent color line. Natural balance, we've already kind of talked through that. There's natural fashion, there's fashion, and then there's our high lift. No, that's not high lift. And then cool fashion. So those aren't, the picture isn't high lift, but there are some high lifts in the color line. High fusion. Now these are available. These are to be able to add more of something to your formula. So if, for example, you chose a 5T and you're like, I want it to be even more cool, I could go in and add something like chrome. Like there's a high fusion chrome offering that I could add in. Now, the more you add, the less longevity you're going to get for the color. So just know that, like, these colors can add a lot of vibrancy or a lot more tonality, but you're also going to be losing some of the benefits that go into this color. So use them sparingly, not aggressively. What are we mixing it with? We would always mix it with 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume Pro Oxide developer. And remember, the higher the developer, the more exposure of undertone. So in situations where I might want 3 levels of lift, but I'm really worried about it being too brassy, then I would go with a 20 volume, let it sit longer, and process that way to get less undertone. Now, on the other hand, if I want someone that has like copper or red and we're looking for a lot more of that vibrancy, you could actually bump up the developer and it would actually expose more of their undertone and support that red or copper even more. So mixing and processing information. So you're always gonna mix this in a 1-to-1 ratio, like I said, using 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume. And we're gonna process it for 35 to 45 minutes. Really, the 45-minute processing time would be for your more stubborn gray coverage that you would need. High fusion, here's an example of if I mix it 1-to-1 with a 10 to 40 volume, I can get a variety of levels of lift, but I can amplify on or off scalp. So yeah, you could use it by itself, but remember your longevity of the actual tone would be less. It's kind of fun for highlights though. So extra lift, these are high lift colors. You can get up to 5 levels of lift and toning at the same time. So lots of different options in this. Usually they're going to be more cooling, but again, I can expect a higher level of lift, like up to 5 levels, but I'm going to also need to pay attention to how much undertone is getting exposed. These are mixed in a 1-to-2 ratio, I believe. Let me double check that one. Yes, 1-to-2 ratio, and you can get up to 5 levels of lift. And there's a V for violet, a light natural, a T for titanium, and a blue. And you can mix them with any 20 or 30 or 40, up to 40 volume here, so. All right, so Cover Fusion, like I said earlier, it is pre-formulated to give you gray coverage, so you don't have to be a mixologist and try to figure it out. If you know your client wants to be a level 7 and a little bit of gold in their hair, I can use a 7NG. What I can only expect is up to 2 levels of lift, and I'm always going to mix this one with our 20 volume peroxide. 1-to-1, equal parts, 35 to 45 minute processing. Another cool thing about Cover Fusion is when people get gray hair, the struggle isn't just the color. A lot of times it can be the texture and the loss of shine. And so whenever you have a client that has gray hair and they're wanting that covered, Cover Fusion's a great option because it actually makes the hair a lot more supple and soft and shiny, and the elasticity kind of come back. So good option. Not as many color options, but there they are. Cover Fusion shade families, you can look that on your own. This gives you a little example, so I'll zoom in. You can pause this and check it out. But different options, what can you expect from those? Also, get yourself the Redken Style Station app. It's an app on your phone. Excuse me, and you can look up all of the color lines there and what colors are actually available. So I know my current associate right now is really using that a lot when she's doing the practice formulation on my clients. Cover Fusion mixing ratio 1-to-1. We're going to use 20 volume peroxide developer. You are going to let it sit 35 to 45 minutes. Again, if someone's got really wiry, stubborn gray, the 45 is great. Extra lifts, here's another little slide about those. Formulation guidelines. So what we first want to do anytime we're formulating, we have to determine what is their natural level and use our natural level finders. Don't try to just guess it, because it is a known proven fact that when we just guess, we're usually off by 1 to 2 levels just because our eyes trick us a little bit. So determine their natural level and then determine where is it they're going. So if they're a natural level 5 and they're trying to get to a 7, so I know that's 2 levels of lift, and what do I experience at level 7 in a natural undertone that's going to be exposed? It's going to be in this American level system, it's going to be orange and yellow. And so from there, I would decide, do I want to work with that? Does my client want something that's more on the warm side, gold, copper, red? Then I don't need to worry about it so much. But if they don't want to see that, then I have to know what is the corrective tone that I need to go in and balance that out. Gray coverage. So this is our chart about it. Again, this is in the break room. If you are trying to mix Color Fusion, not Cover Fusion is on this side and it says you can just choose the color and mix it with equal parts developer. If you are choosing something, like I said earlier, let's say a level 6 BR in our C-Lock technology, then I would need to go in and use something from our Natural Balance family, and it tells you here we would need an N or a GB. So probably an N in our Natural Balance. And if someone is, let's say, 75 to 100% gray, I would need 1 3/4 ounce of the N, and then only 1/4 of an ounce of the BR. And so understanding that you've got to formulate that in there to get the gray coverage if you're not choosing Cover Fusion. Now, if someone's 25% gray, it's even less of that N formula. So it would be a little bit of the N, mostly the BR. Oop. Formulation example, I'll just put these up so you again could pause and get a picture of that, or hold it there so you can actually understand it. Another formulation example using Cover Fusion. Okay, so for you, hopefully that helps a lot. And obviously we're always here to help you with your formulation needs, but we wanted to give you guys these foundations to really dig in and see what you're going to, be able to utilize, whether it's on your opportunity days or when you're working with your educator and you're doing all your practice formulation. Hope this helps. Bye.